Welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if we've already met. My name is Hagenaars, and for those of you who don't know me, 5 months ago, my family and I packed up 3 kids, 3 cats, and about 4,000 kilograms of our most prized possessions in a shipping container, and we left Canada behind. We took a huge leap of faith and moved to El Salvador. Why on earth would we have done that, you keep asking? Well, stay tuned to the end of the video to see why we actually moved to El Salvador. I'll also give you an update on our living situation and our expenses. Let me share our journey, what we've observed, what we love, and what are still some of the challenges that we're experiencing in our new life in El Salvador. Buenas tardes, mis amigos, y benedicciones para todos ustedes, and blessings to you all. So this has been a month of dealing with a lot of people, whether it was trying to get my kids enrolled into public school or meeting some new friends to share the holidays with. On Christmas Eve and on New Year's Eve, we spent time with the family of my children's friends. They live one street over from us in this complex. We had a really great time, and on New Year's Eve, we got to meet the uncle who'd also spent some time living in Canada, and we're still keeping in touch. He's a great guy. He's helping us out with a lot of stuff. We had an excellent time those 2 nights, and we got to experience the real Salvadorian culture and traditions. And next year, we might be up for bringing out a few suitcases just before midnight on New Year's Eve, too. Our friend Stan got another car and became our driver and tour guide again, driving us all around this last month, especially a few trips down to San Salvador to share in the Christmas activities, and a couple of big shopping trips along the way. We had a great experience. If you've been watching our channel over the last month, you've seen our unfruitful trip to the Ministry of Education to try to get our kids enrolled into public school. And that was because we did not get our report cards apostilled before we left Canada, and we tried every which way to do it without that. But unless my kids could write the exam in Spanish and know all the history of El Salvador to answer all the social studies questions, it just wasn't happening. They need to have those apostilled report cards to know what grade to put them in. That's really important. So I had a friend in Toronto find a notary for me. He's actually called the Notary Guy. That's the name of his shop. I called him and chatted about their report card situation. 2 of my children actually don't get report cards. We get an email and we type in their birth date, and we're able to print off the report cards. So I sent him those 2 emails with the birth dates. And my other son, he did come home with a report card, but I actually got his teacher to email me another copy. And in the email, it says it's actually from the printer of that school. So the notary guy said that was totally legit. He was able to notarize those documents. And then my friend Chris came by and picked them up, went to 222 Jarvis Street and got them apostilled. And she was so great about that. She actually did that for free for us. She paid for the apostille and everything. Thank you so much, Chris. That's really great help for us. I really thought this was going to be expensive. And I was actually pleasantly surprised that the notary's office only charges $30 for the first document and then $15 for each subsequent document. So it was only $60 for the 3 plus HST. When I got Lawrence's birth certificate notarized in Quebec, it was well over $100, either $140 or $170. So I don't know why these things aren't standardized across the country, but there's a big difference between $30 and $130 or $140, $170. There's a huge difference there. So I thought this was going to be a very expensive experience, and it actually was pleasantly not so bad. And because we had a friend in Toronto helping us out, it made things go a lot faster. She was able to pick up the documents on Friday, went to the apostille place, got them apostilled within 30 minutes. Because they were notarized already, the fee for the apostille was cheaper. I think it was $16 per. And when we got our kids' birth certificates and our marriage certificate and our CMP and all that stuff done, they were about $32 each to be apostilled because these documents were not previously notarized. The notarization, it makes it cheaper and apparently faster. So she was able to get home on Friday with those documents. I used a company called Eurosender, EUROSENDER, to send documents from El Salvador to Canada. And I also contacted them again on their website to order the documents to be picked up at her house in Toronto and brought here. Now, I did that on the Friday. I could get them done on the Monday, but it was $30 or $40 more than getting them picked up on Tuesday. I don't know why. So maybe because it was the next business day. So I got them picked up on Tuesday, and that was $64.37 Canadian, although you have to pay either in British pounds or euros. And they picked it up on Tuesday, and here it is Thursday. I received them this morning. So within 2 days, I had them in El Salvador, and it wasn't even all that painful or expensive. So I actually had the documents now on time because I need to have them to the school board before February 28th. It's January 23rd. we're in good hands. We got everything done. Now I just got to get them translated. And my friend that we met on New Year's Eve is going to help with that. And then those translated documents need to be notarized. He's hooked me up with a notary here in Lourdes. And so when he gets me the translated documents, I'll take them to the notary. He'll stamp them. And then I take those to the school board. So we should have plenty of time to get that done before February 28th. Even with this little bit of, extra bureaucracy that we had to go through for the report cards, we still went ahead and met with the principal. And he was able to enroll the kids in school, waiting for the paperwork kind of thing. And the kids did start on time on January 20th with all their peers. So that actually worked out pretty good. Now let's go over the cost of living. This is what everyone wants to know about. How much does it cost to live in El Salvador? Well, obviously it's a personal preference how much money you choose to spend. And this month was the month of Christmas, so we spent a little bit more than we would have normally. Plus, well, I'll get into it. Let's go over the cost right now. So from December 20th to January 20th, we have our rent. That's the same every month. It includes a security fee. That's $600. Our electricity bill, actually, it came in as an estimate in the December bill, and then the January bill just came in of the actual. So the estimate was only $40.60, which was like half the price of the real bill the month before. And then this actual bill came in as $116.62. Add them together, divide by 2. I'm going to give you what the average is, because the month before the bill was $79, and if you do the average, it's actually $78. So that gives you more of a realistic feel of how much it costs to run the electricity in this house. Again, we have no air conditioners. We just have fans, lots of laptops, and all this other stuff. But about, under $80 is our typical electric bill. And this is with the Christmas tree going. I actually only unplugged the Christmas tree when I got the electric bill. And I'm like, $116. But then I realized the month before was only $40, and that was an estimate. So I don't think the tree actually had any impact on the electricity at all, now that I think about it. I did finally unplug it, though. I gotta take that thing down. Our water bill was $3.50. Now, our drinking water is sort of approximate. I said $62 because that's what I figured it was when we first got here, and we don't drink any more or less water, I don't think. So it's $2.85 a jug, and we put out probably 4 to 5 jugs a week for him to pick up. Some days we put out the 2 jugs. Some days it's only just the 1, and he comes 3 times a week. So anywhere from 3 to 5 jugs, I'd say, that we'd spend a week, times the 4 point whatever weeks a month. So I'm going to say $62 for that one. Now, cooking gas. We had to buy cooking gas last month. We had gotten one when we first got here in September, and it only ran out in the end of November, I think it was. So I did get that one refilled. That was $12 for the refill. I did actually get a spare. I didn't really include this in the bill because it's not really an expense. I haven't used it yet. It's a spare tank, and I think the tank was $60 for the tank and the top up of the $12 of gas. I haven't even opened that one yet. So we're still using the first one, and then when it runs out, I'll have the spare one on the side so I can call the gas guy to come refill the other tank. Well, he comes with a tank. He swaps it out. He doesn't refill it. But yeah, we didn't spend anything extra on the cooking gas this month. Our internet's still the same, $32.98. Now, the cell phone plan we have been using is basically I get a $12 plan a month, DJ gets a $12 plan a month, and then we give the kids usually a $2 plan. Like when we went to San Salvador to the library, I gave 2 of the 3 of them a $2 plan at that time because I give him one to Willem about a week before when he went out to get groceries on his own, and then they could just tether off each other. And then usually if a $2 plan will give you 14 days of WhatsApp for free. So even if we're, getting separated or something downtown, the WhatsApp was still working on his from the time I filled it up before. So, most we'd have to do is basically twice a month for the kids to have WhatsApp all the time, but they're typically with us, so it's not that big a deal. Now for next month, because they started school, I did get them a full data plan for all of January because they need to use their translator. So I'll include that next month. For groceries, we spent a lot more money on groceries this month for a couple of reasons. One is it's Christmas. We wanted to buy some extra food, but the big one was because we actually went to PriceSmart with Stan. We actually got our own PriceSmart membership, so that's actually included in that bill there. And we'd spent over $1,000 at PriceSmart. I think that was actually the only big shopping we'd done during that whole time, just a couple trips to get yogurt or something at the store the kids had done. But we still had meat and bread and potatoes and pasta and rice and all that stuff left over from before. So this was really like our big top-up order of PriceSmart stuff. And actually some of that includes like my ironing board I bought and a vacuum cleaner. It was all on the same receipt, so I didn't really separate it. So that was a lot of extra stuff. There was also donations. I didn't have those the last couple months, but Murph's Life was doing a campaign for Christmas, so I gave them some money. And of course, we have the children expenses this month we didn't have before. I put that there because that includes all of their Christmas presents and Christmas treats and all the stuff we bought at Walmart. That was actually the whole Walmart receipt for all the stuff the kids got for Christmas and the stuff that we got for ourselves for Christmas for our bags. That was all done on that receipt that says children. So about $400. It was actually $387, and I paid with Bitcoin, and they made a mistake and did it on chain instead of Lightning, and I accidentally had a fee of $10 for that. So note to self, don't just accept. See what the fee is first, because I'm too quick with that swipe. just swipe, yeah, accept. No, I shouldn't have done that. I should look more carefully. So anyway, that was that one. Eating out was a little bit more because we took many trips with Stan. We went to El Cafe de la Park, we went to San Salvador, and every time we go out with Stan, we always have some dinner. There was the trip out to the Ministry of Education, and then there was another trip out to get my mail from my YouTube mail. And anyway, we had a lot of trips this month. If you've been watching my videos, you've seen that. So there was some extra eating out expenses there. Also because our shipping container arrived, and on that day we did a big eating out thing to help feed some people that were helping us out. It's a lot more eating out this month. Entertainment, that's still sort of the same. It's my Amazon Prime membership with my Netflix, any other online subscriptions I have. Household goods, that was $227. That was 2 shelving units we bought. One was at PriceSmart that wasn't included in that bill because it's on a different day. That's for our pantry. We have a big shelving unit in there for all our food items. I also got another shelving unit in my linen closet for our towels, and I got a shoe rack for outside to organize our shoes, and we got a cat tree. So there's a few extra household expenses this past month, and our transportation was a little bit more because we're going out with Stan, and it's like a full day adventure, so we pay him a little more than we pay for an Uber because it's an Uber's just there and back, and nobody's walking around with you all day taking you around. So that was $120 for transportation. I had no medical stuff to pay for this month and no pet things. So that's a grand total of $3,222.84 roughly, if I did the math correctly on that one. So like I said, it's almost like $1,200 more than last month, but there was a few exceptional things in here, like Christmas, for example, and some stuff we got for the house. We had to get some boxes unpacked, so I needed somewhere to put stuff. I needed to get those shelving units set up. So the food. My kids' favorite place to eat now, I think, is Pollo Campero, because every time we go out, we're like, oh, I'm feeling hungry. Where do you guys want to go? Pollo Campero. Okay. Well, it was only this month I found out that Pollo Campero isn't even from El Salvador. Thanks to you lovely subscribers telling me it's from like Guatemala or somewhere else. But there are other chicken shacks around. There's Pollo Campaste. I think they said that one was from El Salvador. There's also Don Pollo. But alas, I've not eaten either one of those ones. So I can't tell you how good the chicken is because I haven't tried it. However, we have eaten out at a couple other fast food places around here. Usually it's pizza because the kids like chicken or pizza, one or the other. The pizza places that we gotten in our area, usually from the Pedidosia app, was the Pizza Siciliana and the Italy Pizza because those are really close to us and not much to deliver it here. We have also eaten at this place called El Chivo Negro, and it's downtown San Salvador, sort of near the cathedral area. And every time we end up down in San Salvador, we end up eating dinner there. This is the third time we've eaten dinner there. So we've eaten a lot there. And Willem has gotten chorizos there the last couple of times. Really, really likes those. We also order in a big order of pupusas every now and again, and we'll eat them at that time, and I'll freeze the rest, and then I'm able to take them out whenever I want to eat them. I did a whole video on how I deal with the frozen pupusas, and I even had some today for lunch. I like to cook, so often for dinner time, we'll have something with like a rice or pasta or potato as the starch, and then I'll have meat, so it's either ground beef or chicken. Typically, we've had some stewing pork, chunks of pork. I've done that, and I usually mix them with a bunch of vegetables. So what I'll do is I'll hide all the vegetables in the sauce. I'll take green peppers and tomatoes and onions, even eggplant, and I'll blend it up in my Ninja blender, and then I just pour it in with the meat, and it's the sauce, right? It's really good. Kids don't even know the vegetables are there. We did try to go to the Agromercado in this area, but the lineup was so long, and maybe if we went a lot earlier, because this was getting to like the last hour where they were open, that might have not have been as bad, or the lineup may have been as long, but maybe it went faster. I'm not sure. So we've been either getting stuff like from the guys going around with the food on the truck, or the little stands, either out in front of the Maxi Dispense actually has like a fruit and vegetable stand right in front of their store. Actually, I think there's two there right in front of the store. They're also in front of the mall. Or we were in Lourdes and there's a few stands, and there was a guy going around with a truckload of tomatoes and green peppers and onions, and I just bought them off his truck. See? It's easy to get vegetables around here. And those usually only cost maybe $4 or $5. Bag of tomatoes for $1. The last time I got 4 bags of tomatoes, $4 of tomatoes. It was $1 for the green peppers and $1 for the onions, and that was a great meal all blended up with ground beef. Made a really good sauce. We've been eating that all week long practically. Last month we got some papayas from our backyard, and the other day we got bananas. So it's nice to have our sort of own organic fruit right here in our yard. Now, I still have some people commenting now and again about safety issues in El Salvador. To be honest, we just haven't seen any issue with that at all. We spent time in the dark, downtown San Salvador, over Christmas with hundreds, if not thousands of other people. No issues at all. We've been out at El Cafe de la Park at night. Last year when we were here, Dan and I and GJ, we were out many places at night. No issues. I know this was a big concern in the past. Once it got dark, the gangs came out and you had to keep your kids inside. We don't have that issue here. And Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and other nights of the week, we're outside here in our complex in dark with no fear or issues thinking like, oh my gosh, I got to call my kids in because it's not safe. We don't have those issues here. As a matter of fact, this is how I felt growing up as a child. We were always allowed to kind of just stay out until bedtime, and we always were safe. Like there was no issues. Never even really thought about anything happening to us. Unlike in Canada, I would be very scared to let my kids out at night in Canada. Even in the small town we were in, there's some danger there. On Christmas Eve, when we were doing the fireworks, my daughter lost her phone, running back and forth lighting the fireworks, and whatever happened, it went missing. And we have, the Google location and everything on it, but her battery had died, so we knew the last location of it, and then it wasn't receiving any calls or not sending a signal. So we spent maybe an hour looking for this phone, and the security guards, they patrolled the area, so the family we were with, they asked the security guard if they've seen the phone, and he said, oh yeah, my colleague picked up the phone. I was like, oh, thank goodness, we got the phone. This is about 2 o'clock in the morning. We figured, okay, Christmas Day, he'll bring the phone over. At about 2:50 a.m., he shows up with the phone, telling me this whole story about how he thought these other kids had dropped it, but then they didn't say anything about, like, oh, I'm missing a phone. So he was going to hold on to it until somebody kind of, I don't know, claimed it, I guess. But yeah, he brought it over that night. Like her phone was not lost and gone. We actually got the phone back, which was nice. Now, adjusting to the language. Well, if you see my other videos, you know what we did. We put our kids in public school and they started on Monday. I think that is the best way for them to learn and learn quickly. I know everyone says, why didn't you put them in private school? Why didn't you put them in American school or British school or any other school around here? First of all, the traffic here is not that great. I gotta take that back. The traffic here is absolutely horrible. Even now, just the 6 kilometers they have to go to school can take a while on the bus because of the highway project that's going on right now. There's so much construction and there's just so much traffic. I don't want my kids spending an hour and a half in the car every day going to San Salvador, which that's a long time in the car and away from us and away from everything else studying. That is a waste of their time and my money because I'd have to pay a driver to drive them all the way there and back every day. It could be 3 hours in the car for them. And I think that's just absolutely ridiculous when there is local schools literally down the road, 6.5 kilometers down the road. This year will be the hardest for them, but it will be totally worth it. By the end of the year, they're going to know Spanish. And a subscriber reached out to me that's from this area, and she's going to come over on Saturday and spend an hour with each of them, tutoring them on Spanish and helping with any homework. And we'll see how that goes. If it goes well, we'll keep that up, and they will learn Spanish very quickly. I think it's absolutely amazing. Infrastructure and utility. Now, as I said, the highway project around here is next level traffic, right? Because they're widening the highway. Sometimes lanes are closed. Sometimes people are just slowed down because they're merging and doing other things between the two sides of the divided highway. So yes, traffic around here is a bit of a nightmare, but it will get better. And I don't know when, but it will get better. Right now, the highway, I don't know if there's it's not completely all the way to Santa Tecla to Lourdes, but most of that is under construction. Maybe not all 16 kilometers of it, but probably 12. And it's going to keep going down towards San Juan Pico, which is towards where the kids' school is. And if you see my other videos about the kids going to school, the issue right now is that highway is getting wider by 1 lane. And their school is literally along the highway, and the cars can just park, the front of the car against the brick wall of the school, and the tail lights practically on the highway as it is. And that is going to be taken away because they're widening the highway. They're turning that into an extra lane. So the school right now is trying to raise some funds, and we're trying to help them with a fundraiser to basically cut open the wall, take part of their field that's beside the soccer field, and turn that into a parking lot. But also, it's where the 600 kids get dropped off and picked up every day, and we want to make sure that that's a safe place. Even right now, along the highway isn't great because it is a highway. People are driving quickly if they can, if it's not stop and go traffic. But I don't know if you've ever driven in El Salvador, but it's a special type of skill you need to basically not get your car smashed in because people can be very aggressive going between the 2 lanes, and if they're not paying attention, any mistake can happen and a kid could get hurt along that highway. So we're trying to make it a bit safer for them by having this fundraiser go on that'll help build that parking lot area for them. We have a goal of $10,000. That's including a few kind of stretch goals with maybe some security cameras and different things around the school. So if you can contribute to that, please do. I'll put the Give, Send, Go link down below. And some people have asked me to put up a Lightning wallet address. So I have that in the link below too. I set up a whole Blink wallet just for this purpose. And if you want to do an on-chain Bitcoin donation, that's okay too. I have a QR code I'll put on the screen right now. And you can do that. That's on-chain. So there might be a fee, or there will be a fee. I don't know how high the fee will be. But that's a separate wallet I also set up just for this purpose. So I'm hoping to leave the fundraiser go, hopefully within the month we'll have reached our goal. here's hoping. So if you can give to that, please do. It would really bless the school and the kids at the school and the 32 teachers. I know a lot of you have asked this question. Why did you leave Canada and go to El Salvador? So I'm going to answer that question here, but it's actually two questions, not one. First question is, why did we leave Canada? Now, I lived in Canada all my life, all 50 years of my life. My husband is from the Netherlands and he moved to Canada in 93, so he was there for 31 years. And I think he says it the best when he tells people, it's no longer matching the brochure. He was sold on a Canada that was like the American dream, but the Canadian dream. And it was great and sunshine, roses, all that stuff. And it was. When I grew up, it felt like that. Maybe I was just naive. But things have changed a lot in the last 10 years, especially. The values and morals of the country no longer aligned with our values and morals. I know that Canada was founded on Christian principles, but it has veered so far away from those. The Canadian government is passing or trying to pass some laws that are making it very unsafe for me to raise my children there. Now, there's only so much I can say about it on YouTube, so you might have to read between the lines here. But we decided that Canada was no longer safe enough to raise our children, so we had to leave. So to answer my second question, why El Salvador? We started looking to leave Canada in September 2021, when the Canadian government was mandating everyone participate in a medical experiment to participate in society or to keep their jobs. And we founded a little group of like-minded individuals, and we were sharing knowledge back and forth, and we were looking into different countries. Now, my husband's from Europe, so we looked in Europe. Maybe we just go live somewhere in Europe that wasn't too crazy, like Portugal. Portugal had a golden visa program, so that seemed very enticing at the time. So I started watching YouTube videos of people living in Portugal, people moving their whole entire family from Canada, the United States, or somewhere else to Portugal to see how they were liking the experience. And it was okay. There was a couple of couples that moved there, but wasn't the best. So then we thought, how about we not go so far? We'll just go south of the border. Let's look in the United States. We looked into Texas, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, even Alabama. And I would watch lots of YouTube videos on people that lived in those states or had moved from somewhere to those states to see what they were dealing with, what their reactions were. Interesting ones about Alabama. I do remember I was feeling kind of fond about Alabama watching some of the videos. But alas, we chose not to go that way either. We looked even a little bit further south, like Mexico, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and we decided that wasn't really for us either. And then I thought, well, how about I just look a little closer to my parents? Maybe we could survive this time close to family. That would be good, right? My parents live in Nova Scotia, so we were looking at land there. I actually found a whole big property of 200 acres. And I thought maybe my like-minded friends and us could move there together. And I kind of joked to them. I said, hey, we can all buy this 200-acre property and we could do a Nova Scotia Free State project like New Hampshire, if you know what I'm talking about. And then somebody came up and said, you know what, there's a New Brunswick Free Province project. And I had never heard of that at the time. So I Googled it, looked up the founder. His name is Mark. I said, hey, we need to talk. Let's have a Zoom call. And it was very clear from the moment the call began, he was not in New Brunswick in February. He was in Ecuador. The first thing he said to us was, if you can get out of Canada, get out. He told us that he had just retired and he moved to Ecuador. But if he were to do it again, he would go to El Salvador. And he talked about how they had just made Bitcoin legal tender. And to be honest, my friends, until he said that, I'm not even positive I knew El Salvador was a country before then. So again, I went on YouTube and I looked up moving to El Salvador and I came across Ryan and Jessica's channel, which is Two People in Paradise. I came across Juliana and Francesco, and they each had different channels at the time, like Money Delix was Francesco's and Juliana's, I can't remember the name of it, but they have a new channel now and it's called El Salvador Insiders. And of course there's Nikki and James from Nikki and James in El Salvador. And I just start watching everyone's videos. And I figured if Ryan and Jessica could come from Nova Scotia, then we could come and give it a try too. So in July 2023, my husband and I got on a plane and came out here and spent 3 weeks in El Salvador scouting it out. And that's where we met my friend Stan. He was our driver at the time. Stan told us that at the end of that trip, he said, you've seen more of this country than some locals have. And I thought, what a strange thing to say, until I learned a little bit more about the history of El Salvador, and then I could totally understand how people could live here all their lives and not be able to have the freedom to move around the country to see all the different sites. So we love the country so much, we decided we were definitely going to move our whole family out here. And when we left here last year, we knew that we were going to start a business and it was going to have something to do with orphans. We needed to have some sort of profit generating income business so that we could be able to support orphans some way, some shape. Maybe we'd have our own orphanage. We didn't know exactly what we're going to do, but we knew that was going to be on our heart when we decided to move here. And then I was watching a video from Jenny Ari from Living Like a Local. And in that video, she talked about Mi Casa Kids and their new program, Casa de Vida, which is the House of Life. And she talked about the founder, Bob McDonnell. So we happened to reach out to him him to ask about what is this House of Life Mama and Baby Shelter. He started this program in December 2023, just when we were calling him up about it. We talked to him in January. And this program was opened up for girls ages 9 to 17 who were abused, abandoned, and pregnant. And we thought, that's our mission. That's where my heart went out to these girls. We want to provide jobs, training, education, and even childcare for these girls so that they can live a prosperous life in this country. So this is where we need your prayers today, friends. We want to buy a hotel here in El Salvador, but we cannot do it until we sell the motel that we have in Ontario, Canada. So can you please pray that we're able to sell that property as soon as possible, maybe even put a date by March. God always works in mysterious ways. And when we do sell that motel and buy here, we'll take you with us on the journey to buying property in this country. So thank you for joining us. I'll be doing these monthly updates each month around the 20th. We were a little bit late this month because the 20th was the first day of school and we had a lot of other stuff going on, so please forgive me. But it should be by the 20th of February, the next 6-month review. If you like this content, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments. I read every comment and I try my best to answer your questions there or in the next video. I'll see you in the next one.
Don't forget to hit the like button.